Thank you very much, and it's really an honor to be part of the team that addresses the great challenges that humans face. And also it's scientifically challenging and exciting for me to involve in this project that holistically develop innovation solutions to the food problems. I'm giving a presentation on behalf of a team that addresses the Megatrend 1. Thinking about Megatrend 1 and thinking about what the presentations we have this morning, and just imagine that you have a food production system, agriculture or ranchland, whatever you have, and it's under the pressures of different sources, climate change, especially climate variability, population growth or population dynamics, and then all kind of land uses, the land degradations, the human activities that create the pressures on those systems and affect the supplies of the food system. And on the other hand, you have urbanization, changing population, migration, et cetera, that changes the dynamic of food demand. So the Megatrend 1, which is not just one, but it has many sub-megatrends, is to address the supply side of the food system. And thinking about Dr. Snap's presentation about technologies or low-hanging fruits methods that could be effective in the developing countries. And in my mind, I thought about why they are not adopted, countrywide or region-wide or around the globe. Why? This is one of the things that Megatrend 1 is going to address. That is to look at the problem using a system approach rather than just looking at one aspect, and we need to look at all aspects. So this presentation is a collective contribution by the team, and I have some pictures at the end of the team. And we didn't provide the names for the time being, but we will provide later on when we start this. So let's start, look at the theoretical framework, how we develop innovation solutions. Just addressing the food supply. Imagine that you have a system, the agriculture system, under different pressures, okay? If you look at this, how do I go about increasing the resilience or develop adaptation strategies or mitigation strategies to solve the problems? We need to look at what we call megatrends or drivers or driving forces. And in the adaptation world, they call exposures, how much we expose our system, agriculture system, to the disturbance created by climate change, population growth, and pressure on land or water. So you look at the exposures to see what aspects of those exposures are the most critical in the regions that are most vulnerable to those pressures, including both natural science and social science. So on the left is the exposures and drivers that create pressures on food ecosystem. What we really need to do is to look at the aspect of those drivers and then assess their impacts on food system, particularly agriculture, and doesn't just include crop, may include other food systems, agriculture, and other things. So we need to look at all the things, how the drivers impact food system. What we need to do is to look at the impacts and assess the vulnerability of the system. And then from there, you know what impacts you have, and then you know to what magnitude the impacts are, and then you know what aspects, particularly the driving forces impacting the system. You look at the system and look at the society, what are the adaptation options? Why they are not adopting the technologies they have? Are they lacking of the social capital or natural capital? What they are lacking? So we need to look at the system and identifying the bottleneck problems. We need to look at the whole thing and then develop the innovative solutions. Solutions are not just a technology that solve particular problems, but solutions should include all aspects that makes the whole thing work. And then you need to look at the capacity and then understand if the society or the community is lacking the critical capitals they need to implement the technologies available to them or the information available to them. And then work with the decision makers or stakeholders to design and a set of policies that allow them to implement this. Not only just the implementation, but make it work. And when we think about sustainability, we're talking about long-term sustainability of the human system. You can have a sustainable approach for short term. I do something that mess up other environment, but I can produce a bucket of food, wheat. But long term, we need to look at the impact. Is the solution going to withdraw water, that getting the water depleted in, say, 50 years or 100 years? We need to look at that aspect, and how the solutions we provide are going to feed back to the climate. We're not going to look at just one aspect, but we need to look at the feedback. So we need to think about the system. And when you think about the system, that leads to the sustainable approach, or using the system. We need to look at the system. So the team is positioned to look at aspects of those things and then develop solutions that we'll try out in different countries. So, whereas we need to have the loop to finish the job, and we need to look at 4 aspects, particularly for the Megatrend 1. As you see on the slides, climate change. We saw some pictures of flood affecting the community, and drought is probably one of the most devastating climate event affecting the food system. Population growth, population dynamics particularly, change the labor market, change the labor dynamics that you affect the agriculture system. Okay. And look at land use, conversion of land to other systems, and the different uses, and some of the uses lead to degradation and to long-term reduction in soil fertility and other ecosystem service. And we need to look at the water availability. If we keep withdrawing water from the groundwater, sooner or later, and we need to look at if it's possible to maintain a system that provides drinking water to the community. So we need to look at those. Those are the 4 pressures we are going to look at, and the ways they are going to affect the food, particularly cropping system. So the overall objective of Megatrend 1 are 2. One is to provide USAID the best available information about the trends in driving force of those megatrends, the pressures. And then identifying the plausible, and we may say it's optimal, innovation solutions to support adaptation and mitigation. We have a third one, that's developing international team, which is already being in progress. We have expertise from both on campus and in the US as well as abroad. So that's the overall goal of objective 1. But we do have specific objectives for year 1. Identifying hotspots of food production system vulnerable to the drivers. We talked about 4 drivers, 4 exposures, whatever we call it. So we need to identify the hotspots. Where are the critical problem areas? Identify knowledge and technology gaps in food production system in critical regions, And first year, we're going to focus on East Africa. And we want to look at where. We know that East Africa, you think about East Africa, you may think it's small, but there is so diverse characteristic in terms of geography and other features, and they are not affected by the climate change, population, or land change use equally. So we need to look at the places where we need to work on and seek plausible, innovative solutions to the impacts of these drivers. So those are the specific objectives for Megatrend 1 in year 1. And then from the year 1 activities, we will produce some outcome. What we are going to do, we first define the problems and examine the geographic content of driving forces and their impacts on the food production system. We are going to look at primarily cropping systems and then gather the data based on mostly on existing work and also from our partners and design and conduct literature review and then get the data and analyze the data, and then of course we need to look at what has been done, what has been working and what has not been working, and then look at particularly at the trends. We know what happened. We want to know what is going to happen and where the most critical problems are. So, and then we frame the issue, okay? And then with the interaction with the stakeholders and our partners, we'll identify the problems and frame these issues and then develop white paper and then look at the plausible solutions. So the outcomes from the year 1 activities are a core team established, which is already in progress, and we have teams, as I said, from both US and abroad. And then we will develop a white paper to identify and define and assess the nature of responses to food production challenges. So based on those 4 megatrend, sub-megatrends or drivers. An example of the white paper may look like this. For example, we have 4 sub-megatrends. One is on climate change. We need to look at topics and ask ourselves, what are the specific climate change impacts challenges in East Africa? We're talking about year 1. And what do we know, what do we not know? So basically, we need to know what the unknowns are and to determine where we need to go. What are the special aspects of climate change, trend, variability, and uncertainty critical to the food production system? So I'm just giving you an example how the Megatrend 1 climate change component look like for the white paper. And then what are the data and knowledge gaps? That's critical. And I should add here the data, knowledge, and technology gaps, et cetera. So what are the gaps that we don't know in order to address the challenges we identified in the first year? And we have expertise. I just in the last minute, I put some of the people what they do and expertise we have. Sig just talked, and her expertise you already know. And we have Joe Messina, who is doing the land use, land cover change in the back. I think I see Joe. Yeah. And then we have Jennifer Olson. I don't know where she's running some. Maybe she's not. Okay, she was sitting there. So her work is really on the ground and get with the local community farmers to assess the options of climate change method. And we have myself. I do a training with international, as Ajit said. And then we have Terry. I just pull out the information from Terry Technologies. They have a suite of things that they have been practicing, and we need to look at what is feasible, how we can scale it up, et cetera, and then assess the bottleneck problems. Thank you very much for your attention, and if you have questions, I'll be happy to answer.